Hey, our queen, Oprah Winfrey, is quoted as saying, "Often intuition will direct you. If it feels right, it probably is right." Hey, happy Women's History Month, coming to you in March of 2020 with a really important key of advice. Oprah said if it feels right, it's probably right. But something most of us often don't think about is if it feels wrong, it's probably wrong. So today we're going to talk about a really important issue, and that is that your anxiety is actually often your women's intuition speaking to you. Is this a breakthrough moment? All right, I'm going to dig in and give you the wisdom you need to understand how this works. So, first let's start with a story. Last year, I was engaged in a conversation with an organization about doing a motivational talk at their event. And I was invited by someone I knew from my network, and we had this really exciting conversation about what they were looking for. And in the conversation was like, okay, great, I can deliver that. Here's how I do it. And we ended the conversation with an agreement. I started to notice, not too long after that call, that I felt very anxious. And I actually felt anxious that entire day. There was this churning in my stomach. Something wasn't right. Now, a lot of the traditional advice around anxiety is breathe through it. Just, keep going, push forward. But I didn't in this occasion. Instead, what I did is I stopped and I said, is my intuition offering me some wisdom here? Is there actually some wisdom in this anxiety right now? So I took a few minutes, I got quiet, and I listened. And what I realized was the agreement I had just made with this organization was not in alignment for me. I overpromised. I promised a lot more than I was able to deliver given the terms of our agreement. And I said, okay, I don't want to just go back and say I can't do this. That wouldn't have felt right to me. And so I took some time and I said, how can I make this a great opportunity? And I looked at the agreement we made and said, nope, I really don't want to commit to that. But how can I make this opportunity one that I would shine, that I would be able to deliver what I believe is the essence that they're asking me to deliver? And after asking that question and taking some self-time, I realized what I could offer. And so that evening, before I went to bed, I wrote an email back to the head of this organization, and I said, listen, I had such a great conversation with you today, and I'm really excited to support you. But I realized I wasn't fully in alignment with the agreement we made, and so I want to make another proposal to you. Here's what I suggest. And I outlined what I suggested. I heard back from this person maybe a few days later, and what this person told me was, you know what? I couldn't have told you this in our first conversation, but we ended up having a change in the lineup for the event, and what you proposed is actually perfectly aligned with something that we need. How about that? That anxiety I felt was really my intuition. It was telling me that I was moving forward in a way that wasn't in alignment for me. And following that intuition, we made an even better deal. And this is a story I want you to keep in mind when you have those uncomfortable feelings within. Again, we're often told that the wisdom is, well, just take a few deep breaths, push yourself forward. That's actually operating in masculine energy. See, masculine energy is very much about make things happen, push things forward. Feminine energy, on the other hand, is about being in a state of receptivity, intuition, and allowing. And for those of us who identify as female, this is actually the way it feels good and natural and amazing to work. So, I want you to consider going forward. When your anxiety hits, is there maybe something to listen to in that moment? And let me tell you why. You might be wondering, well, why, Gina? This is going to cause, some challenges in my life to tell people no to things or to go back on a deal I made. Here's the reason why it's important to listen to that anxiety and intuition. Women, particularly, the gifts that we bring to the world are when we in our greatest state of radiance. And when I say radiance, I mean we're in alignment, we're in harmony, and we're radiating love. For those of us who are old enough to remember the Care Bears, do you remember the Care Bears like they were shooting out love beams from their heart? And this is truly something that women bring into the world when we're in our highest state of joy. I know that when I'm with a client, for example, when I am aligned, I am in joy, I bring so much more value. I'm so much more effective. And I want you to consider in your own work, isn't that true? So the reason why we listen is because we're making ourselves more effective. We're bringing the best that we have to offer to our work. And sometimes somebody brings an opportunity to us that's a good opportunity. But if we get in true alignment and we let our anxiety tell us, nope, this isn't quite right, as I did in that speaking opportunity, we can make it even better. We can bring our genius to it and really make it the right opportunity that will serve the most people. Now, there's one other piece I want to share. So how do we actually determine how to tune into the intuition? And so I just have a couple questions you can try. So if you're feeling that anxiety and you want to determine, is this my intuition speaking? One question to consider. How is this guiding me to something more helpful? So just tune in and ask that question. How is this guiding me to something more helpful? And when I say helpful, I mean to you, that will allow you to thrive more. So another way to look at it is this second question. How can I bring radiance into this situation? How can I do this in a way that I will be in a state of radiance? And that anxiety is showing you that somehow you probably wouldn't be. And it may be an out and out no, that you want to say no to the opportunity, but often you can bring your own intuition to change the situation in a way that really works for you. And always, always, that will serve everybody else as well. So, as we wrap this up, I do want to share one other point. Checking my notes here. To hit this point home, I want to just share that I have spent so many years sitting with women. As many of you know, I used to run a women's organization called Step Up Women's Network. And in my time at Step Up, I just have talked to so many women. And in my coaching business now, I work with many, many women. And I often ask a question like, what do you believe is your superpower? And one of the things that women often will say is something to the effect of they know they have intuition. And it really is, why do they call it women's intuition? They call it that because it is part of feminine energy. Not that men don't have access to it. Both men and women have masculine and feminine energy. But if you identify as feminine, you really have that honed in at the forefront of how you operate. And most women will say something like, yeah, I get a sense of people. I understand situations. It's not logical. I just kind of get it. And again, going back to Oprah's quote in the beginning, this is something that we have guiding us all the time. And we often see it guiding us towards what is good, towards the direction we're meant to go. But sometimes intuition guides us towards what doesn't work for us. So may this advice bless you on your path forward.